Hello, everybody. Hang on, I'm just admitting some more people. Admit. Hello, hello, hello. I'm hoping this is going to just admit people as I come in, and I'm not going to have to, oh no, it's not doing that. So I'm going to have to keep an eye on who is here, but welcome everybody. And let me just get my slides together. Feel free to introduce yourselves in the chat as everybody's coming in. And if you haven't seen your emails with a workbook, I have emailed a workbook through to you all this evening. So you might want to use that as we go through. If you don't have a workbook or you aren't able to access it, don't worry, you can just use a pen and paper or your phone or whatever else you would like to use. But it is editable, so you should be able to do it on your laptop or your phone or whatever, if that is helpful. Okie dokes. Right, I am just going to give it a couple more minutes because people are still coming in, and I'm very impressed to see 18 people with ADHD turning up on time for a meeting. This is pretty good going for us. Okay. Right. I'm going to see if I don't know if I can have the chat and be able to see when people are trying to sign in. So I might have to just flip between. But feel free to sort of put hands up and stuff if I'm not seeing your messages in the chat. Okie doke. Right, I am going to kick off because I don't want to keep people too long. And I'm just going to check my thingy that people are coming in. Cool. Right. So just to start with, I am Lauren O'Carroll. Oh, good. I can see the chat as well. Thank you for putting that in there, Sarah, because that has helped me to see that I can see everything now. So I am Lauren O'Carroll. I am a certified peaceful parent coach. I trained with Dr. Laura Markham, and I've done lots of further training with Dr. Sharon Celine and many other professionals around the kind of ADHD frame. So I support parents who have neurodivergent kids, so not necessarily ADHD, lots of parents of children with autism, PDA, ADHD, and all sorts of other things. But this session is particularly around supporting parents who have ADHD or parents who feel overwhelmed and identify with some of the traits of ADHD. And we often see that as we approach kind of perimenopause, menopause, when our estrogen levels drop. That can be when we start to get our ADHD symptoms exacerbate, or just being really, really overwhelmed as a parent, we might start to identify with it. So I try and take families from the idea of being extra, being too much, to actually being able to see themselves as extraordinary, find they're extraordinary. I am, oh, hang on, I've got one more person to let in. I am a speaker. I'm also a soon-to-be author. I'm writing a book about parenting with ADHD. And I have a membership called Growing Extraordinary Humans. And the latest thing I'm trying to do at the moment is kind of challenge the narrative of people such as Super Nanny, who talk about kind of, well, they give the impression that maybe it's the parents' fault that our kids are like they are, you know, maybe we're not strict enough, maybe we don't have firm enough boundaries. And actually, I think if it was that simple, you guys wouldn't be here today. It can work for some families to be stricter, but actually what tends to happen is that our kids get older, we then have no more cards to play. So, and I'm going to a documentary very soon talking about this. I can't say much more about it at the moment, but watch this space. Okay. So just before we get sort of stuck in, a quick heads up. This is a completely judgment-free, dopamine-friendly zone. Feel free to have your camera on, have your camera off. I really don't mind. I do like it if I can see people's faces because it helps me to know that I'm talking to people, but if you'd rather have your camera off, that is absolutely cool. Please use the chat, talk to each other, support each other with ideas and things as they come up. If there's questions, I will try and answer them. I'm also going to try and keep an eye on people trying to come in and all of the other things as well. So please bear with me if I seem a bit distracted. What I hope you will leave with is 5 really easy ADHD friendly tweaks that you can start to use immediately. I'm going to give you a new way of seeing your summer through a more compassionate lens. And I want you to create a simplified plan that is personalized to you, that's going to help you feel more in control this summer without burning out. So as I said to the people who were here right at the beginning, I did email through a workbook. If you are able to get that workbook and access it as we're going, either print it out or edit it, you can edit it online, then that will be great, because then you'll have it all ready made for you. If you've got a piece of paper and you can scribble down on there, that's absolutely fine as well. Do what works for you. Oh, I've gone the wrong way. No, I've gone the wrong way again. I have to be down here. Okay. A page 1-1. I don't know what that means, Bethany. The workbook should be, no, there was a 1-page PDF that I sent a few days ago, and which was the 5 tweaks. There should have been a workbook that came out today. You didn't get a workbook. Okay, maybe it hasn't worked. I will send the workbook out after this to anyone who hasn't got it. If anyone has got it, please let me know in the chat. And I do apologize for all the people who got millions of emails from me. I'm not very good at tech. I've tried to be clever and failed miserably. Okay, it seems like no one's got the workbook. I did really try. I created it. It's very annoying. I don't think I can add a PDF to the chat, annoyingly. But I can send it to you afterwards. So if you scribble notes, then you can put it into your workbook, and then you can have that as something to go through the summer with. And if anyone does have it, do let me know, because it should have come out, but maybe the tech has failed me. And yes, apologies to anyone. No, okay, no one's got it. There we go. I'm not very good at tech. I will get better. I've actually just been awarded 9 hours VA support a week, so I am hopefully going to get somebody who knows how to do this stuff. So next time I do one of these, it will be better. Okay, so use a pen and paper and scribble some things down as we go. As we explore, no worries, as we explore each tweak, I want you to think about what feels realistic to you. I do not want you to say, okay, yeah, I'm going to try this thing if it feels like a lot, if it feels too much. Try and find something that is going to work for you. I want you to think, like, note down one idea that sort of sparks something in your mind and put it on your piece of paper, because you don't have the workbook. By the end, I want you to choose one of these 5 tweaks. So we're going to go through 5, and I want you to commit to starting it tomorrow. And if you are able, if you're in my Facebook group, my ADHD Parent Village, or you can help me with the tech. Amazing. Let's talk afterwards. If you're in my Facebook group, my ADHD Parent Village, I'm going to put a thread in there asking you what you're doing and what you're starting and how it's going with this one thing that you're committing to, because I want you to start this tomorrow. And from that, I'm going to pull somebody randomly, and I'm going to give them a month in my membership routes for free. So worth doing. If you're not in my ADHD Parent Village, you can find it on Facebook. And I think later on in this presentation, I also have a QR code. Not this one, though, because this one didn't work. See, I'm living and breathing ADHD. I would love to get the message out there to ADHD parents. Thank you for laughing with me. So if you are sort of resonating with some of the stuff I'm saying as we go through, I would love it if you could take a picture of yourself on this Zoom, or just take a picture of the screen and put it up on your social media and tag me in it and say that you're here, so that more people can find me and I'm able to help more parents with ADHD. Because when I became a parent, I really struggled, and there was just no support out there for people who had ADHD. There was loads out there for kids with ADHD, but there never seemed to be anything for the parents who struggle with emotional regulation, the parents who are disorganized. And I really, really want to change that. And the key thing is, you are not failing. You're not disorganized. You're not too much. You're not enough. You're not inconsistent. You're not too emotional. All the things that we have been told, especially as we become parents, that can make us feel really, really full of shame and feel like we're doing it wrong and we're doing it badly. None of that is true. You probably are parenting with a brain that from childhood has never been supported in the way that it needed. And that's not your parents' fault. It's just that we didn't have the information then. And we need to stop trying to parent like we're neurotypical. We need to stop trying to do things like everybody else, because it just doesn't work for us, and it leaves us feeling super bad about ourselves, super shameful. And from shame, we can't grow, we can't get better. We don't improve just because we're feeling bad about ourselves. So we need to try and have a more self-compassionate lens. When it comes to summer, some of the things that make it really, really hard, and I'd love if you could share in the chat some of the things that you think I'm just going to put my light on, you think make summer particularly hard for you. But some of the things that I've identified is that we lose the external structure that we are so used to. It's definitely not just you, Sarah. We have a lot of sensory overwhelm. If we are trying to work or be at home and do the things we'd normally do at home, and then our kids are around, whether our kids are 2 or whether our kids are 22, they can still be really, really overwhelming to us because we're not used to having them in our space. Yeah, we might not have nanny daycare, we might not have school, we might not have all the things that we're used to. We've got a huge emotional load on us, because let's not forget that while we're neurodivergent, the chances of us having neurotypical children and easy to manage children is very low. So we've probably got children with deep emotional needs, and we end up being like that emotional mattress, that emotional cushion, and it just can feel really, really awful to us. And that it takes so much out of us, so much of our energy. And then being ADHD, we have quite a low capacity for routine, but we need it. We find it really hard to plan, to do that step by step. So it might feel like the mess of summer it's kind of just a jumble in your head, and you can't quite see how it's all going to work. Have this need for novelty. We feel like we need to we need novelty for dopamine, and so we don't really want the routine, but we need the routine to feel safe and in control. And I can see there's lots of other people who've popped things in the chat as well, and I've kind of lost the drift with that. So I want to share with you, just before we start our tweaks, a shift that I think changes everything for parents. And this is not from me, this is from Dr. Ross Green, who wrote The Explosive Child. Got my shelf won't play out now, but it's a great book if you haven't read it. And his premise for everything he does is that kids do well if they can. He says, if your child or if your kid could be more flexible, handle frustration more adaptively, and solve problems more proficiently, he would, because kids do well if they can. He talks about kids having lagging skills. So if our kids aren't doing the thing that we want them to do, or if they are presenting us with challenging behavior, it's likely because they don't yet have the skills they need to be able to resist that impulse, to be able to tolerate frustration, to be able to communicate in a way that is not aggressive or angry or rude. Behavior fundamentally is a method of communication, and we need to see that with our kids. So our kids can have what he would consider to be lucky communication or unlucky communication. And you may identify this yourself as well, that you may be wired with what you might consider lucky communication, i.e. communication that doesn't annoy everybody around you and make people cross with you, or you might have behavior that's wired into you that is unlucky. I certainly am unlucky. I am explosive. I get angry. I get resentful. I shout. I swear. Like all of that stuff is kind of wired into me, which makes parenting hard. And it also makes being a child hard when I was a child, because everyone was always cross with me. Whereas a child with lucky behavior, yeah, and it can feel really, really shameful. And we hold a lot of that shame, we carry it with us, and then our kids trigger that shame, and then we shout at them, and it's this vicious cycle. On the other hand, some kids, some people have luckier behavior. They may go quiet. They may complain politely. They may withdraw. And actually, that's not necessarily lucky for them in that it feels any better to them, but they don't get those, they don't trigger anger, or they don't get in trouble for the way that they're communicating their needs. So their experience of that might be very different to somebody who's got the unlucky behavior, and it's just kind of pot luck, really, what you end up with. But to take it a step further from what Ross Greene says, I believe that parents do well if they can too. And if we're not doing well, it's normally because we're carrying a lot of shame. Maybe we're addicted to substances and we're not able to parent well because of the substances we take. But what's led us to that? There's always a reason behind why we're not showing up in the way that we would like to, because nobody wants to do badly. And so just like we want to support our children when our children are not doing well, when our children are struggling, when they are being good children having a hard time, I want to encourage you to support yourself as well, because children learn from modeling. They learn from what they see us do. We can talk to them, we can coach them, we can teach them, but that's literally like maybe 20%, if that, of parenting. Most of it is what they see, and they do what they see. So they need to see us being kind to ourselves. They need to see us looking out after ourselves. So that is what I want you to kind of think about as you go through this. Is, yeah, maybe you accept that kids do well if they can. Maybe this is a new concept to you as well, and I'd love to know if it is or if it isn't. But have you ever thought about the fact that parents do well if they can, and the fact that actually you need support to do well as well? Okay. So going on to our first tweaks, and for the people who've just joined, I'm encouraging you to write down one thing for each of these tweaks that you could try over the summer. And then at the end, I'm going to ask you to choose one that I want you to start with from tomorrow. So the tweak number 1 is letting go of the ideal parent pressure. And this is particularly prevalent in the summer, right? Like we see WhatsApp groups, people posting pictures of them and their families on a lovely holiday on Instagram and all these beautiful places, and everyone has these perfect times and these perfect days. And it can feel like we need to recreate that. We need to do it like them. But actually, I want you to think about creating plans that work for your family, the family that you are in. What would a nice summer look like for your family? Does it mean that you go on holiday? Does it mean that you don't go on holiday? Does it mean that you have to plan something every single day so people know what's happening? Or does it mean that you need to keep it completely clear? You blame Bluey's dad for this one. For which one, Dan? I think I missed what you said before. I can't see the full chat because I'm trying to see the people, but I'm intrigued. Do you mean the ideal parent pressure? Because he definitely is an ideal parent. He's awesome. Also, but I'm not really talking about that. I'm more talking about the kind of the idea of the, I guess, the ideal summer holiday. But yeah, and the ideal dad. The bar is high. Although it does give us some good ideas for parenting. I do condone watching Bluey and getting some parenting tips. But yeah, he's got far too much energy and he's far too brilliant. I could never be that great. You might want to use visual tools that help you stay on track, which might work for you, and it might not. I love the idea of visual cues. I can't actually create them and be consistent with them. But one of my kids, who is on the spectrum, creates visual stuff all the time for herself. So I can harness her skill, her interest, her focus on that to support us all as a family. So she's recently created a meal plan for us, which she did off her own back, because I haven't been able to do that. My ADHD brain can't do that forward planning, and she's only 9. So we can use the different skills of our family. Yes, your kid loves routines and you struggle to stick to them. So maybe you can get your kids to hold you into a bit more of an account. Maybe they can create the routine, and we will come on to that. But I want you to think about what, firstly, your summer, your plan could look like, or what would be different for your summer. And if anyone wants to share in the chat to sort of give other people ideas, is it simplifying? Is it having something every day? Is it having a visual tool? Is it creating a meal plan for every day so you don't have to stress about what am I going to cook? Is it delegating to somebody who can do that stuff? You like the jar idea? Okay, I haven't seen that. I'm going to have to look in the chat now. And if I hear a ding dong, I'll go in. In fact, I will come back to it because otherwise I'm going to get massively distracted. But I can see that there's some good ideas coming into the chat. And actually, there's somebody in here. I won't mention her name in case she doesn't want me to, but she may well share in the chat anyway. On a coaching call I was on with her, she had a fabulous idea where one of her kids had like a sensory needs, and he took sensory breaks. And actually, rather than just having them for this child, the whole family takes sensory breaks. So it's everybody has the opportunity for a sensory break. And I really like that. I think that could be really powerful, particularly if you have children with different types of wiring, and you as a parent might get very overstimulated by their stimming and their sensory breaks and how they need to use their sensory, how they express their sensory needs can be overwhelming to you. So you can also take sensory breaks yourself. And I think that could be a really lovely tweak for somebody who struggles with overwhelm. Okay. Tweak number 2. So hopefully you've all got something for tweak number 1. If you can write it down, please do, because the more we write things down, and it will help at the end as well, but the more you write things down, the more accountable you're going to be. Tweak number 2 is anchor one moment. So you don't need to plan every hour of every day. You don't need to have complicated schedules, but it can be really helpful if you're ADHD to manage your energy, to manage your dopamine, and also for your family who are likely neurodivergent as well, to have a place to kind of come back to anchor, to rest in. And that one daily moment can ground the whole family. So that could be at any time. You can work with whatever works for you. And it could be different on different days. You could choose a few, but it could be, I mean, I've just put a few ideas in here, like, you know, going on a morning walk around the block or something, having some snuggle time, maybe always having dinner together. Maybe it could be, you know, if you've got older kids, like a certain time of day when you kind of all get together and have a check-in, maybe a lunchtime. Maybe it could be that you all watch a TV show together at some point. Maybe, I mean, if you could do something that's outside, that might be great if you've got kids who really get stuck in tech. Make playlists of movies, music, books, and allocate time to work through them. I love that. That is really cool. And actually, I'm going to go on a little bit of a tangent here, and I hope you excuse me. It's ADHD, so we do this, right? But actually having some rituals that you do in holiday time can really help your kids and your family to feel like an identity and a belonging. So if there's something like Katerina's just shared about this idea of having playlists of movies, and if they do that every summer, then that can be something that you always come back to it. It's this thing that we do. And I haven't read your whole thing, and I've actually seen it goes a lot further than that, but I'm not going to get stuck on that because I will just tangent into this chat, and I'm trying not to look at it because this is what always makes me late in call. I like run on too long, but I'm so pleased you guys are using it. So please continue to do so. And I will read it properly at the end. Okay. So has everybody got an idea for how they're going to anchor one moment? Give me a thumbs up, give me a yes, something in the chat, just so I know that you guys have seen it. Fab, okie dokes. Oh, that's good. Thumbs up in the call now. I can just do it with the chat up. Okay, tweak number 3, use energy-based planning. So has anybody heard of spoon theory? I'm fairly sure some of the names I'm seeing on here I've spoken to about spoon theory. Got some thumbs up, cool. So spoon theory is basically the idea, look, I've actually got spoons here from when I last explained it to someone, so that we have like a number of spoons, like a set number each day. And each time we do something, we use a spoon. So our spoons are like our energy. So maybe when we get up in the morning and we have to get out of bed and we don't want to get out of bed, we use a spoon. Then we have to get ourselves into the shower. And for some ADHDers, that can be really hard to do. Then we've got to kind of get ourselves dressed and do breakfast and get everybody to, you know, come and eat breakfast, maybe get your kids off screens. That's another spoon, another couple of spoons. Then you've got to get everybody out of the house for your morning walk that you've just committed to doing for this anchor. And then one kid doesn't want to do it. And there's another fight and no one wants to leave the house, and you've used 3 more spoons. Then you start work and you work through your day and you're using a couple more. And before you know it, you've run out of spoons, right? And then you might have to start borrowing from the next day, depleting yourself before you've even got to sleep. And then you go to sleep and you restore some of your spoons, but you might not have as much for the next day. So I want you to think about what it looks like for you. What is your battery like when you're waking up? If you've got your phone in the morning and it's on like 3%, you're not going to expect your phone to last for the day. So hopefully you remember to plug it in and charge it a bit before you go out, or you bring a charger with you, or you're like, oh God, I'm not going to have a phone, and you're going to feel anxious about that. But so often we start the day massively depleted and we just expect ourselves to get through. And then we shame ourselves for shouting at our kids, for getting angry, for doing all those things that we say we don't want to do. Does this resonate with people? Does this feel like something that you guys do? So I want you to think about matching your activities to your energy and thinking about, how much energy do I have? And is that thing that I want to do, have I got enough energy to do that? We would do that for our children, and we so rarely do it for ourselves. Maybe you don't have the energy for the meltdown if you don't do the thing. And maybe you want to think, okay, fine, we'll do this thing, but do you know what? I'm going to be really clear that afterwards I'll need a break. And you can advocate for yourself. Because don't forget, we're modeling to our children. We want our children to grow up looking after themselves. We don't want them to martyr themselves for their families. So we need to model self-compassion. And think about how you might be able to build in a space to reset before you get overwhelmed. Or when you're overwhelmed, thinking about, when can I reset? When can I have a break? Can you speak, if you're parenting in a couple, can you speak to your partner about the fact that this thing is going to really exhaust me, or I think I'm feeling a bit on the edge here. I could really do with going out for a walk, going out for a run, going to bed for an hour, watching TV, whatever it is that makes you feel better. Think about how you can preserve your energy. Think about the times when you get super, super stressed and super, super shouty, and what could you do to protect yourself and protect your energy before you get to that state. And maybe it's putting in a pocket of you time before bedtime, if you've got young kids that you're still putting to bed. Maybe it's putting in a pocket of you time before you try and get your teenager off the screens and out of his darkened dungeon of a room and outside, because you know that that's going to be a battle. So think about how you can use your energy and what is going to deplete you, and how you can be topping yourself up. Has anyone got any ideas for what that might look like for them? I'd love it if you could share it in the chat, or give me a thumbs up if you've got something for that one. I'm going to have a sip of water while you're looking at that, a dry mouth. Do people need more ideas? Sarah's got one. Cool. Is anyone stuck on this? Because I feel like there's quite a lot there. Things like a sort of sitting down and having a guided meditation before bedtime can be quite a helpful one. Like putting your children to bed can be a helpful one. Or, you know, before doing anything that's tricky. I use an app called Insight Timer, which is really good for like loads of very different kinds of meditations to find something that might work for you. Right, what have we got? I've got no request until Mum finishes her brekkie. Yes, I love that. I love that. Nobody talked to me until I've had my breakfast. Yeah, it gives you a cushion to get recharged. And go for a movie night when you lack the energy for anything else. Yeah, 100%. I mean, I always have a movie night on a Friday night. Kids eat pizza. My husband eats pizza. I eat whatever I feel like, so I don't actually like pizza. But it's movie night. So all I have to do is someone needs to chuck a pizza in the oven. The kids watch a movie. And Friday is just a day when I just don't need to worry about after school. And it's really nice. Yeah, Insert Diamond does have kids' meditations. My daughter listens to Cherry and Vale all the time, which is pretty good. 5-minute calm time before bed. Oh, I've not tried that one. That sounds good. I've missed that clearly. Right. Okay. So we've got 3 tweaks. Hopefully you've written 3 things down. Tweak number 4, connection beats control. So the idea of this is, I mean, some of you will definitely have heard of special time because I talk about it quite a lot. It is one of the connection tools that is super, super powerful. And it's the one that takes probably the most mental effort, but it isn't that hard to do. And if you have a child who has breakdowns, if you have a child who struggles with all of the things, if you have a child who you feel disconnected from, I really, really encourage you to think about bringing this in, particularly over the summer where you might have a little bit more time to think about it. So the idea of special time is that you are delighting in your child. You are setting aside an amount of time. I normally recommend 10 minutes to start because it can feel like a lot. But any less than 10 minutes, your child's not really going to get into it. They're not going to relax into it. They're not going to get the benefit. But the idea of special time is it's child-led. You don't correct them. You let them do things outside of the ordinary rules, perhaps. You might want to set some parameters so they don't take the piss, but essentially they get to be in charge for 10 minutes. They get their needs met of having some control, some autonomy. And you delight in your child. So it's you and one child. If you've got multiple children, you're going to have to do it separately with them. And, you know, if mum and dad are both there, then mum can do it with one child, dad can do it with the other child, then swap. If you've got more than 2 children, then, you know, you can work it out. It works. But that's why I say keep it small, because it can feel like it takes up quite a lot of time. But it saves a lot of time in the long run in terms of sibling rivalry and all of the other things. So I'd love it if anyone in here does special time, can tell us how they find it, and whether it helps, because I would love to have some testimony to this, because I know it feels like a lot. And the reason that we do this is because connection with your child it reduces all of the kind of conflict that they come up to later. It helps them feel safe. It helps them feel seen. Kids' nervous systems are kind of wired, particularly younger kids, wired to have that connection with us. They need to know that we notice them and that we're going to save them if there's a threat, that we're going to come and rescue them. And so if there's a sibling in the picture, there's always that constant question in a child's mind: is she going to save me, or is he going to save me, or them, or them? You know, which one of us is going to get saved? Which one do they love the most? That's why kids are always saying, who do you love the most? Because they need to know that you're going to save them. And kids cooperate better when they feel seen and when they feel safe. And I like to think about it a little bit like a spa day. So imagine, and this is why I talk about like having it at a set time and telling your kids in advance, because, you know, lots of people will say, well, yeah, we do it. I have all this one-to-one time with my child. Like I always make sure I have it, but we don't call it anything and we don't plan it. The reason I say to call it something and to plan it is because they can anticipate it. They can anticipate that time with you. They can anticipate that connection. And if you think about the fact that maybe you are having a tricky week and tricky time with your kids, and you have got a night out at the end of the week, or you've got a spa weekend, or you've got, you know, some childcare and you're going to get some downtime at the end of the week, you're probably going to be able to hold it together much better than if it's just a relentless kind of like, it's just carrying on, because you know that you've got this break, you've got this respite. And it's the same for our kids. That's what special time does for them. it gives them that respite, it gives them that break. And I'm glad to see there's lots of people in the chat talking about special time and how great it is. So that is fantastic. Good. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. And I will share one story very quickly. I had some clients who only did like 3 sessions with me, and they had, I think she was 3, but this absolutely works all through the teen years as well. It just needs to look slightly different. But this child had like 5 or 6 meltdowns a day. And I set the family the homework of starting special time and doing some roughhousing with her every single day. And within, like they implemented it like that day. They came to see me the following week and they told me that she'd had 1 meltdown in the entire week. This is a child who had 6 a day. She was so desperate for that connection with her parents. And the roughhousing bit was kind of releasing some of the anxiety and helping her bond with dad. But it's incredible what it can do. So it's really, really worth trying. And summer's a great time to try it because you've got some time to plan it. So maybe that's not one to start tomorrow, but it might be one to think about how you can implement and how you can start to ingrain in your week. Okay, last tweak. So hopefully that one is just implementing special time. So I wasn't really one to write down so much. Build your scaffolding first. So you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't pour from an empty nervous system. When we are depleted and we have nothing to give, we have nothing to give. And yet we still keep trying, and that's why we explode, or why we shut down, or why we start shaming and all of those things. So I want you to think about what helps you regulate, what helps you feel good. Some ideas, mantras. So having something that you say to yourself when things get hard. So one of my favorites from Dr. Laura Markham, I think I saw someone, Kyle, talking about it earlier, or Bethany talking about it earlier. It's not an emergency, because so often we go into that fight or flight, and that's when we react, and we get very reactive to our kids, to our family, to whatever's going on, to the pressure, because we feel like we're in an emergency. And actually, unless your child's kind of running across a busy road or about to smack their brother or sister with something very hard and, break their head, it's probably not an emergency. So we need to think about how our brain is framing things. Is it an emergency, or can we step away and calm ourselves down? Or they're a good child having a hard time, could be another one. If you trying to remember this, kids do well if they can. Even kids do well if they can be a good one. Movement can be a really great one. If you are prone to anger needs to move. So think about how you can shift that anger through your body, how you can move it out so that you're not just trying to hold it. So often, especially as parents who have, or people who have been shamed for being angry people, we hold all of our kind of anger in, and we try and sort of, I'm not angry, I'm going to hold it in, I'm not going to be stressed. And I see this every single day with clients, that they kind of have this pattern of just trying to hold it together. And it's like a rice cooker with a hole blocked. Like at some point it's going to explode. And that's why we explode, because we're trying to hold it in. So if we can let that anger move instead, if we can make space for that anger, it can make a really big difference. Lions, tigers and bears, oh my. I love that. Yeah, that's brilliant. That was another really good way. That's a great mantra. It's a great mantra to use with kids. Playing crazy music helps me sometimes. I get, who here, maybe put a thumbs up or flag yourself in some way if you are a hyperactive ADHD, because I know some of us are hyperactive, some of us aren't. I am very hyperactive, and I get this kind of, Sarah is, I can see, I get this kind of drive of kind of crazy energy, Kath as well, where I sort of feel a little bit out of control sometimes, and I feel like I don't really know what to do with myself, and like I can feel myself revving up my kids and sort of stressing people out, but I can't quite stop being like that. I'm seeing Amy's putting her thumbs up as well. So does anyone resonate with that? Because when I get like that and I feel like, ugh, sometimes putting on some like music and dancing to in a really crazy, silly way can really help. My kids think it's funny. They don't realize that I'm on the edge of kind of screaming and hitting them, but actually I am. I'm so frantic, and I've got so much energy that I can really kind of shake it out in a way that feels safe to them, also feels safe to me and expends that energy that is starting to sort of feel a bit threatening. Breath work can be a really good one as well, because 80s music, yeah, that can be brilliant. Or just ask Alexa for something. She never listens to me. She always plays something opposite to what I've said and misinterprets it. And we get some great, really, really strange songs. And that's always quite fun to dance to as well. Anyone who finds meditation difficult, breath work can be great if you've got ADHD, because it's something to focus on. It's quite tricky to do. You have to really kind of concentrate on the breathing, which stills and calms your mind, which can be super helpful. So has everybody got something that is going to help build their scaffolding? Noise seems to tip you over the edge. Have you tried, I shout at Alexa all the time to shut something up. And occasionally when the children are in the house too, when I'm really stressed. So yeah, I'm totally resonating with that. Loops can be quite good. I tried the Flare ear noise reducer things and they didn't work so well, but loops massively did. Right, have people got something for their building your own scaffolding? The other things that you can use for scaffolding, of course, are things like delegating. So delegating to a partner who is not ADHD, some of the things that you find really overwhelming. Factoring in rest time, doing something you love every day, art, sport, music, all of those things. Okay. So now of those 5 tweaks, and I will go through them just very briefly as well for those who've joined the call late. I want you to think about which is the most doable this week. And I want you to write it down, share it in the chat, and then I will put a thread up tomorrow or after this in my ADHD Parent Village for what your commitment is, what you're going to start tomorrow. And I'd like you to say what it is, and I'd like you to say how it's going. So report back over like Thursday, Friday. I will pull a name on Saturday and let you know who's won a month in Roots. I'd like you to commit to starting it tomorrow. I'm just going to go through them again, just very quickly for those who weren't there at the beginning. Although you will get the workbook after this, because I'll try and send it again. So we've got tweak number 1 was planning for you. So trying to make a plan that works for your family, thinking about what your family's ideal summer would look like, what that would consist of. Thinking about anchoring one moment in your day so that everyone can kind of come together and ground. And obviously you might not be able to do that every day, but to try and have some consistency through the summer so that there is that grounding time will be really helpful for everybody's regulation. Energy-based planning, so thinking about kind of how you use your energy and how you protect your energy and looking after your energy as well as your children's. Special time, and then looking after your nervous system. So we've got Sarah saying her tweak is going to be special time. That's awesome. You're planning to anchor a family walk after you get home from work and before dinner. I love that. And this is a really good time of year to do that. So I do special time most evenings. When I put the kids to bed, I do special time. When my husband puts the kids to bed, he does special time. And we do it sort of after all the things. So we do it, get your pajamas on, brush your teeth, get all the stuff done that you don't want to do, then we do special time. And at the moment we're doing it out in the garden, and it's just so nice because it's, twilight, it's lovely, sort of fresh air, it's warm enough. We do handstands, we play football, we play whatever we're playing, hide and seek it, all the things. But it's just so nice to be outside, and I think that can really set us up for a really good connection with nature, and it feels like a really nice special thing to do in summer. Sarah's going to do a jar with different activities so we can mix routine with spontaneity, but you're going to colour code the activities energy levels so that I'm knackered. I love that, Sarah. That is so cool. That is so cool. I might steal that. I'd love it if you could write that in the group and share it with everyone, because I think lots of people will steal it. I would also love it if you could take a picture if you've managed to do it, because I think that's so awesome. And if you want to make one from my family as well, I'd really appreciate it, or give us any of the ideas, because it sounds way too overwhelming for me. So Lava's focusing on energy planning. Kyle, which I think is actually Bethany, is being more consistent with special time, and you want to build your scaffolding, meditation or drawing. Love it. And I know that you do special time already, so and meditation probably, so you're kind of honing in those things that you probably already do inconsistently. And we have to remember that these things are, because we're ADHD, we're going to do them for a bit and then it's going to drop off. And we have to be kind to ourselves about that, because that's how ADHD brains work. If you beat yourself up because you've lost the habit of special time, or you've lost the habit of meditation, then you're going to feel really rubbish about yourself. And it's going to be really hard to get back on it. So ChatGPT came up with it. I love that. Yeah, so plan to fail and plan what you're going to do to get yourself back on track. So you will manage to do special time for a bit, but when the novelty drops off, what are you going to do to get yourself back on track? So the way I stay consistent with special time is I put it at the same time every day and my kids ask for it. So I either have to have a battle with my kids as to why we're not having special time, or I need to have to do special time. So it's hard for me to say no to. Yeah, so Amy's saying need to plan for special time, but may need to be on a 3-day rotation. And that is totally cool. Like, some people just manage special time on the weekends. If you're just doing it once a week, twice a week, then try and make it a little bit longer if you can. But yeah, I mean, ideally we do it every day, right? But I don't do it every day. I do it personally. I do it on a Tuesday, I don't do it on a Thursday, a Saturday, sometimes a Sunday and Monday, but it depends who's putting the kids to bed. But we take it in turns. And I don't do it on Thursday because we have gymnastics, and I don't do it on Friday because we have movie night. So I actually have 2 days when we don't do it at all. And that's okay. But I do try and make extra time for connection at bedtime then, just to kind of give them what they need. But yeah, I mean, we're aiming for 5, but whatever you can manage is totally cool. Okay. I'm sorry, that QR code is for my ADHD Parent Village if you are not in it and you want to join. I will have to come in and let you in there. Okay. If you are sitting here thinking, yeah, okay, these are all great ideas, but actually in my situation, I just can't see how any of this is going to work, or, you know, I've got lots of stuff that I really need to talk to you about. That's my number. I don't know if you can see it because I've hovered over there. Feel free to drop me a WhatsApp, and I can tell you about different ways that I can support you. Or, you know, if it's a quick, simple thing, then I can just respond with a voice note, and I'm totally happy to do that. So that is my number. And I want to ask you this. What if you didn't have to do this wholesome holiday on your own? Imagine having 8 weeks of support made for your ADHD brain, with tools that are going to actually stick, and an immersive in-person day with parents like you. That is what I am kind of offering off the back of this. And I'm just trying to get the details up in front of me so that I actually tell you the right stuff, because it's changed a few times. So the ADHD Parenting Reset isn't a course. Hang on, I'll go on to the next slide. Try and do this all at the right time so you can see it. So it's not a course. It is a calm, structured container for parents like us who need accountability. We need flexibility, and we need empathy and kindness and community. So this isn't about kind of creating unrealistic perfection. It's about trying to create slow, gradual change in an ADHD friendly way. And I built this because when I became a parent, and for very many years as a parent, I just found that none of the stuff worked for my brain. I couldn't stay on top of the you know, different courses, the 12 module courses. I've got an 11 module course, which is great for my one-to-one Thrive clients, but anyone in the membership who's got the course struggles to do it because we have weekly calls, and then, you know, to get them to do the course as well, it just feels too much. It becomes overwhelming, and we don't do it, and we don't have that accountability. So this is a live 8-week program. It's 1 call a week, voice note support, coaching basically from me to keep you on track. We have really short sessions, they're 45 minutes, so you can keep up with them, and you get a private kind of podcast feed or video feed, depending on what you prefer, so that you can listen to replays if you can't make it while you're cooking, while you're walking the dog, while you're putting your kid to bed and got your earphones in. If anyone wants to go deeper, I also have a premium tier, which is going to include this in-person day with me, where we're going to get super deep on some of the things that are coming up for you within the 8-week course. So we're going to go deep on parental regulation. We're going to go deep on how we deal with acute anxiety with children who are really, really struggling with fear, with children who are struggling to, you're losing your connection with the meltdowns, all of these kinds of things. So I'm going to develop a couple of in-person days. I might do one particularly for my membership if there's enough interest there. But I will definitely be doing one that goes along with the premium tier. And if more people join in the premium tier than kind of 6 or 7, I will do 2, because I want to keep these small so that you get maximum benefit from them. And they will be tailored to the group that we have and the needs that are in them. You don't need to decide now, but if you even think this might be a yes, DM me the word ready or WhatsApp me the word ready, and I will send you all the stuff that you need, all the links, etc. If it's a no, then that's cool. Like, stay in my community. I'm going to cheer you on anyway. And if it's a yes, I can't wait to help make your parenting feel lighter and more connected. I'm just going to go to the next slide. This is what some of my past clients have said, so don't take my word for it. I think I've got some clients in the group as well, in the chat. So if you've worked with me before, please do share whether or not you found it helpful. But before we go, I just want to say that, you know, we've all tried to do this stuff on our own for so long, and we don't need to white knuckle our way through another summer. Let's do it differently this time. Let's do it together. Let's do it in community. We're not broken, we're just wired differently, and we need to match our parenting to our wiring. Okay. Now that was meant to be another QR code taking you to Instagram so that you could ask me for a gift for keeping on here, but you can DM me in wherever you found me asking for either or both if you want them, to be fair. I've got a siblings mini workshop. It's about 15 minutes. If you've got like ingrained sibling rivalry, or you just don't know how to break up the sibling fights. I've also got my leaders framework, which you may well have seen, which is the 6 things I recommend that families do every single day to maintain connection. And people like Bethany, who are familiar with Dr. Laura Markham, will know these. This is an adaptation of Dr. Laura Markham's preventative maintenance. So we've got, it's my leaders framework. So it stands for laughter, empathy, always, allowing all emotions, dopamine hits, routines, and special time. So those are the things that I recommend that families do every time to keep things together. But I've got a little sheet which kind of breaks all that down for you, and you can stick on your fridge and try and remember to do them that way. I would love to know in the chat what has stuck with you most from today, what the one thing you're going to commit to is, and how you're going to make it happen. And while you're doing that, I'm going to have a little run through the chat and see what we've got. And if anyone's got any questions, please feel free to unmute. We've got another 20 minutes that I can take questions now, if anyone has any. I can't believe I've actually kept to time. I'm very proud of myself. Sarah, I'd love to know from you whether the jar was ChatGPT's idea or whether it was your idea and ChatGPT is coming up with the activities. And Caroline's going to do special time. And you're going to add it to your fridge schedule. I love that. So you're really going to keep yourself accountable. Are you going to start that tomorrow, Caroline, or is this something for the summer? And Sarah's doing sibling rivalry. One thing that's really stuck with you is the pure bliss that you're not alone. Yes, you are definitely not alone. And if anyone wants to unmute and ask a question, please feel free. The jar was my idea. I'm okay. There you go. Well done, Lauren. I don't think I'd realised. Yeah, the colour coding was your idea. Okay, got it. That's really good. Okay. Main ideas to energy, avoid the perfect parent. Match ideas to energy and avoid the perfect parent trap. Okay, but pick one. So what are you going to start with first? That's so funny, Sarah. Like, this is the problem with my brain. I think these things and then I forget that I've thought them. And even if I've written it in an email, then I forget. Oh, I need to do this for myself afterwards and actually write down my tweaks so that I do them. I know, I realised that was perfect. So how are you going to match your activities to your energy? Yeah, no, I'm going to do the down jar. I need to go and buy a jar. It's a bit like buying a diary or a new notebook, isn't it? I'm going to buy a jar. Cool. Okay. Got one more slide. I can't remember what's on it. There we go. So the doors for the ADHD Parenting Reset, which I think I've actually called Calm, Connected and in Control, but you know, I've given it two names. There we are. They close on the 9th of June. That's Monday at 10 p.m. There's a QR code there, so you can get all the details from there. Please excuse any typos. I have had 3 hours sleep and was trying to sort of finish it off today, so may not have it perfect. And once again, I'm very sorry for all the emails and things that people have got. And I can't remember who it was who said they can help with tech, but please DM me and let me know, because maybe you can be somebody I bring on to help me with this stuff. Bethany said she loves the one solid repeatable moment. I want to make sure to keep it simple so we can look back on our summer as refreshing, not frantic or wasted. Exactly. Yes. Yes. Amazing, Sarah. Sarah's going to help me with the tech in the jar. Fab. Thank you. I appreciate it. Can you come and write all the jar things down as well? I think I might need to just move in for the summer. Maybe we can do it together. Cool. Okay. If no one else has got any questions, I will leave it there. I think this is the first time I have managed to do a masterclass in an hour. Thank you, Amy. I'm feeling very proud of myself. So thank you very much. I will drop the replay in. Oh, hang on. We've got a question. There we go. I knew we were going to go on for a bit longer. Please unmute yourself, my love, and ask away. If people need to go, feel free to go. If you've got questions, feel free to stay. I can hang on here for as long as needed and answer questions.
Sorry, Lauren, it's not a question. Just wanted to say thank you.
Oh, an absolute pleasure, my lovely. Absolute pleasure. And it's great to see you here. Did anyone else have any questions? Otherwise, I'll send the replay. I'm glad it has been amazing. Dan, go ahead. Just unmute and let's all shout at the same time. There will be a replay, yes.
Hi, it's actually Kat.
Okay.
We're both here.
Hi, Kat.
Okay. So I really want to do the 10-minute thing with my daughter. But I literally hate playing with them. And I don't know what to do that she'll think it's her idea and she'll enjoy, but also I will be able to do that with her, you know.
How old is she?
7.
She's 7. Okay. So the idea of special time is that it is child-led, which means, unfortunately, she gets to decide the boring game that you're going to play. So I would say, I've got a horrible echo. Can you put yourself on mute just when I'm talking?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. There we go. That's better. I would suggest that you try and see it as an exercise in mindfulness, and just try and really concentrate on being present and noticing what she's doing, and just trying to sort of enjoy her enjoyment of the thing. So she'll probably tell you what to do, and you will just have to do the thing, and it might feel extremely painful. And the reason it probably feels extremely painful is because you are sitting with all the feelings, and you're sitting with a kind of still brain, and you're not able to distract yourself in the way that you normally do. And that, if you're ADHD, is completely common, normal, especially when our kids are younger. I mean, special time with a 3-year-old can be agonizingly boring. So, I mean, I used to kind of like sometimes like count freckles and things just to try and keep myself awake. But actually trying to just enjoy her enjoyment might help. Make sure that you take your phone completely away so you don't even see it, because if you see it, you're going to be distracted by it. You're going to want to know what's going on in there because your brain's going, I need a distraction. I need a distraction. Maybe give yourself some sensory support as well. So like, for instance, throughout this whole call, I've had this in my hand, I've been squeezing it. I always have a fidget when I'm doing special time, particularly with my 6-year-old, because of the things that she likes to play. My 9-year-old is much easier because she likes to do handstands and play football and things that I quite enjoy. Sarah saying her 7-year-old's great at card games now. She can find, yeah, okay. So again, that's great, but we kind of want to, as much as possible, avoid structured activities. So if she wants to play a card game, that's fine, go for it. But I wouldn't suggest reading a book, playing a game, something like that, because we want to be sort of supporting their creativity, their ideas, their showing their themness, and then delighting in them for being them. And when we're playing a game, our focus is on the game and it's not on them. Does that make sense? And feel free to unmute again if you've got more questions. Did that answer?
No, that's really good. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Did that answer?
Yeah, I will try and give it a go and give it my best shot.
Maybe start with like twice a week, so it's not like too much for you, and then start to increase it. So if it's like unbearable, you've got a day off, and definitely start with 10 minutes. I'd suggest setting a timer as well, so that it's the timer that stops it and not you. Or try it without calling it special time the first time and see whether you can endure it. And if you have to, make it shorter to begin with. But she's not going to get the benefit until she gets at least 10 minutes, because we need her to relax into it. But it's a great one for building self-esteem. So it is really, really worth sort of powering through, and it will get easier. It's a bit like trying meditation for the first time. I mean, honestly, I spent about a year doing meditations and Googling, like, after most of them, is meditation bad for people with ADHD? It felt so horrible to me for my mind to be trying to be still. It made me dysregulated afterwards. But through perseverance, I have found it to be extremely helpful and one of the most supportive tools. How do you bring special time to a close? So use a timer. Use a timer, set it for the agreed amount of time, and the timer is in charge. So the timer defines when everything is different. A timer is perfect, because then you can see how the time goes through. Let's see if I had one behind my desk somewhere, but it's obviously, I don't know, here it is. For those who don't know, this is a timer. So basically you can make the time however much, and then you see it basically takes itself down, so it will slowly kind of decrease in time. So it's a really great visual aid for neurodivergent kids and for neurodivergent parents who struggle with time blindness, which is why it's sitting on my desk behind everything and I can't see it, because it would be really useful to use if I remembered. Would have been really good for this masterclass, actually. Anybody else got any questions? What can I do with the other child whilst doing special time? One is 5, the other is 7. They hate me having time with the other. So I guess, yeah, not a sand timer, exactly. Yeah, unless you have it very high. So when you start special time, that is going to be challenging. And for anyone who's got younger kids particularly, it's even harder, right? Because you might not be able to leave them for very long. But what I think you will find is that once they realise that they are both getting this special time, and part of the deal is that they have to stay away while you do it with one, and then the other one stays away, and they both get it. It might take them a bit of getting used to. You might need another parent there initially, or another person there initially, to support that sort of division. I often will just pause the timer when the other one comes, have a chat with them, tell them to go away, and then resume the timer. It's not ideal, but when you're working with neurodivergent kids, sometimes that's what we have to do. But I would start with the child who's the most impulsive, the least able to wait, to make it easier. I would be very clear with them both about what's happening, and I would set the child up who's not getting the special time at the moment with something that they're doing initially, so that they are occupied. Does that help? Mine are 6 and 8, took a while. Always make sure that the other child is doing something they love. Yeah, exactly. I mean, with younger kids as well, like things like audiobooks can be really good. You can get an audiobook in like some colouring that they could do at the same time, or even like a piece of paper, and they could like draw pictures with the audiobook. You can use the TV, although then it might be hard to get them off the screen. But actually special time is very dopamine inducing, so it's a great transition off the screen to get into special time. But yeah, I mean, you can do whatever. There will be something that will probably work, but I think it takes a bit of adjustment to start it, and you might need extra support. I mean, I even know people who've had kids who are so dysregulated that the only way that they've managed to do special time with both kids is to hire a babysitter and get the babysitter to hang out with one while the other person's doing it. But it is that worthwhile, because all of the sort of big meltdowns and the dysregulation just get so much better if they get that one-on-one time. You've banned iPads as a so obsessed, so currently trying to find new ways to entertain them. Yeah, and that makes total sense. Like, we don't have screens during the week because my kids just get way too dysregulated, except for this week when I've had so much stuff for this to do that I just let them watch screens every night. But generally we don't have them because of the same thing. So, you know, when we do that, kids do tend to find other things to do. They have to grieve for not having the tech and not having the screens, and then they get better at imaginative play. The other special time was something they didn't like that helped. Yeah, I found it the other. Occasionally bath time play whilst one gets special time works. Yeah. The other thing is, sometimes they will want to have it together so that they get to double the time. So often my kids will be like, oh, I want her in my special time because I want to play this thing which needs another person, or we want to have 20-minute special time, so can we do it together? And occasionally I say yes, but most of the time I say no, because that doesn't do what special time is supposed to do. Special time is about delighting in one parent, and it's about the connection parent to child. So not two parents with one child, not one parent with two children, but one parent with one child, because it's about that individual connection. So it's worth bearing in mind. It's not always going to be possible, and I really encourage playing with siblings, encouraging siblings to play together. It is brilliant. It is so good for their relationship, but this is something different. Anything else before we go? Okay, I think we might be there. All right, I am going to drop the replay as soon as possible. As soon as it comes up, I will drop it in your emails. I will also try again to do the workbook. And if anyone wants to chat to me about the 8-week program, the in-person days, if you want to do an in-person day and not the program, or if you want to do the program not the in-person day, there are different options. So just drop me a message and we can talk through it. And yeah, I hope you found it helpful. Thank you so much all for coming, and we'll see you soon.